What's up, Canes fans? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Big commitment, instant reaction to the commitment of Herbert Scroggins to the University of Miami. This is a major target. We've been talking about him for months before anybody else. Telling you guys, Miami really likes this guy as a premier pass rusher, a top of the board type, and they were able to beat up the SEC, Auburn, a lot of schools for Herbert Scroggins, who announced today for the Canes. So great news for the Canes. Pete, jump in here. This is a guy who, according to the Canes and according to the film that we're about to put up, is really what you look for out of high school as an stand-up edge, the jack position in Guidry's defense, with the range, with the production, with the basketball background, with the academics from a military school, military discipline, the motor, the bend. He really just checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, the flexibility for sure. You see him standing up here as well. So he does a little bit of everything for this defense. A guy who plays basketball. We said it the other day, D, was reported by Tom Lemming as a guy who averages 13 rebounds a game. We haven't been able to confirm that yet, but either way, a guy who does play basketball as well. And the production, right? We overlook that a lot of times at this position. We just look at the physicals, the twitch, and things of that nature. But you see that he has, I really like the bend, man, the flexibility off the edge there. And then just going and chasing the ball carriers and the quarterbacks in the backfield.
And right there, something that we always harp on, especially with defense alignment, is blocking kicks, which talks about your motor, your get off, your general twitch. That is a huge indicator, in my opinion. He has that. You see him chase down plays with speed and motor. You see the flexibility, which you mentioned. He's knocking people back, so he has power as well. Comes from Benedictine military school, so a very productive program. He has a lot of discipline, of course, coming from a military school. And 3.9 GPA, close to 4.0 GPA been reported. So a lot of boxes checked with this player. And again, he's someone who you have to go into SEC country, Savannah, Georgia, beat SEC
Auburn,
schools like Auburn, where he was crystal balled to by pretty much everybody before his visit to Miami. Miami was able to get him on the visit, convince him this was the place to be. Shout out to Jason Taylor, who really led the effort there as far as identifying this guy as someone he particularly thinks could be an impact player, helping close the deal with Mario Cristobal, with Miami's entire staff. Big time win. He's rated as a high 3-star, kind of on that 3-star, 4-star border. But I can tell you, on Miami's board and the way he was being recruited by the SEC, much higher. And as a bonus, he's really close with Elijah Griffin, who is Miami's #1 defensive tackle. Right there, it means the country's #1 defensive tackle on the board. So this is a major commit on its own. Again, someone Miami has targeted since early spring, as we've identified on the CanesInSight podcast. They love this guy and able to bring him home. And they're not done at the edge position.
And you mentioned Jason Taylor, and you said the other day how big of a fan he was of Scroggins here. And, I'll show it after the highlights play here, but Scroggins has on his header on Twitter the NFL draft logo up there. So obviously, and this is a guy 4.0 GPA, high achiever, a guy who fits everything from a character standpoint that Coach Cristobal and his staff are looking for. And again, plays, good competition. You see here against Stockbridge. I think Miami got Marquez Ezzard out of there years back, but that's a top program out there. And, the production, you can't deny production at the pass rushing position generally translates very well to the next level.
And one thing you're seeing in the last few clips, he's not just trying to shy away from blocks, slip everything. I mean, he is getting off blocks. He's using his hands. He's flexible, so he's able to get under guys and get into them. He's physical. He's willing. So it's not just, hey, I got to be athletic and avoid guys and be finesse. He has that power to his game as well, which he uses to effect here on a lot of these clips. You talk about adding this guy. You had Booker Pickett, who came late, came in summer. I heard he looks like a just absolute freak athlete. Elias Rudolph, tons of buzz about him. Miami was worried about certain things with him as far as qualifying and injury, and he did the hard work, qualified, showed up on campus healthy, looks amazing. Of course, you already know what Marquise Lightfoot and Cole McConaughey can do. Both of those guys flash repeatedly in spring. You saw them in the spring game. If you haven't watched that on YouTube, So Miami's done very, very well at edge. Of course, I haven't even mentioned Ruben Bain, the best young pass rusher in the nation. So this is a position that Miami has recruited extremely well. They would love to add a big body to complement the stand-up rush ability of a Herbert Scroggins. Iosef Benessa out of Edwardsville, Illinois, St. Louis area. He's right there on top of that board for that spot, and Miami has a great shot with him as well.
And D, another guy, and this has been a common theme, that he's a 4-star, but I have a feeling that after his senior tape gets out there, has a chance to move up even more in these rankings.
Yeah, he's, again, we just check the boxes. The athletic ability, you see it. The production. I think one of the things with him is he's listed at 6'2", 230, which maybe that's why he's being lower ranked. I'm told he is clearly 6'3" at least and looks good in person. Like, he is not somebody that you would say is undersized. Maybe if you were talking about them being a strong side, kind of your old school take on blocks and that kind of defensive end, he'd be undersized. But as far as what he's being asked to do at Miami, which is just stand up, be versatile, drop back, rush the passer, play very similar to Jason Taylor, kind of what Jason Taylor did for Nick Saban in many respects, where he, I believe, was the defensive player of the year under Nick Saban. That for the Miami Dolphins, Scroggins can do all that stuff.
You see his Twitter here with the draft. The pick is in up top, so obviously has that vision, has that goal in front of him, and playing for Jason Taylor is not a bad way to start that journey, I would say.
No, absolutely not. Look, if you want to be strong at a certain position, defensive end, which I would say is the current strength of Miami's team, both because of the portal. Let's say currently probably mostly because of the portal, although Ruben Bain is a signee. Then you have Elijah Olsen from the portal, Tyler Barron from the portal, Akeem Messidor from that initial portal class. Your older players are clearly from the portal, along with the premier local signee recruiting battle win in Ruben Bain. The future, Malik Bryant had a really, really good spring. Big recruiting win out of the Orlando area. Stand-up rusher, had an outstanding spring at that position once he shifted from an off-ball role that maybe was a little unfamiliar for him to that jack linebacker position. So he's someone to watch both next year and in the future. I mentioned McConaughey and Lightfoot. Both guys put on a show in the spring, which you saw culminate in the spring game where McConaughey started. Lightfoot made a lot of plays and was made available to media after that practice. Booker Pickett and Elias Rudolph, again, super athletic, productive guys, 6'5 plus, can run like deers, doing nice things in workouts. And then you add here Herbert Scroggins as the next generation. That's a premier position that goes number one in the draft. You talked about the draft. This is a number one pick of the draft type position. And Miami's doing very well there. If you can add an Iosef Benessa on the other side, now you're talking about stacking elite defensive end recruiting on top of elite defensive end portal recruiting. That's a position you want to be strong at. I know Herbert Scroggins won't be at the Gator game unless he's going as a spectator wearing Miami clothes, but that's going to be a major impact in that game. Can Florida's terrible offensive tackle situation withstand Miami's excellent defensive end frontline talent? So that's the advantage you get when you have great defensive ends. Herbert Scroggins just stacks talent at that position, and I don't think Miami's done.
My last observation here, D, going through his Twitter page, you look at the chronological order of some of these offers he's received. I don't know if you can see it, but Miami offered him back in January. Then you look at some of the schools that come in here after. At USC came in a few days later, but USC, A&M, Virginia Tech, Missouri, Pitt back in April. Alabama offered him in May. So Miami was early on this one. Seems like a really, really good evaluation there.
Yeah, and again, I know we're tooting our horn, but whatever, let's toot. No one was talking about Herbert Scroggins being a major target for Miami. We were saying that for months. And the reason I'm saying that is not just to toot our own horn, but, I'll promote us any chance we get. But the idea that, this is some sort of like, they're scrambling for options or something. No, this is someone they put on top of the board, circled, and got over the SEC where he's from, Savannah, Georgia area. So again, major, major recruiting win for the Hurricanes. The whole industry had him going to Auburn. They got him on a visit, flipped him. Salute to Jason Taylor, Mario Cristobal, the entire recruiting staff, Dennis Smith, all the guys in that building did a phenomenal job, Coach Joe, of landing this player, and they are not done at the edge position.
Great get by the Canes. Remember to keep it locked on Canes Insight for all of these instant reaction videos, as well as our daily show, Canes Insight Daily, that we discuss the biggest topics of the day. Remember to check out CanesInsight.com, the largest community of Canes fans online, completely free as well. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already.
Yep, and shop at Caneswear. And
Go
as always,
Canes.
go Canes.
Yeah, this an insight to the Canes, and you know we ain't playing no games. Joaquin said dominate, so that's what we do. Home of the legends and 7th floor crew, down in Miami where hurricanes brew. You here for the rumors, we bring you the news, cause it's all about the you, and nobody do it like Canes Insight. Nobody do it like Canes Insight. Nobody do it like Canes Insight.